The president can lose everything, not by losing an election, not by a scandal, but by breaking one single constitutional rule. It's not secret. It's not a conspiracy. It's written in plain language. And it carries a legal trap that can snap shut in an instant. One moment, the White House is untouchable. The next, the power disappears. The doors lock, and the presidency becomes a title without authority. If you want to understand how America can stop its most powerful leader, you need to hear this rule. The White House looks like the final stop for power, but the American government was built with a hidden break. Tonight, you'll see the rule that can shut down a president's authority, and why the Constitution can still strip power away, even from the most powerful person in the world. The rule that cannot be broken. The rule is simple, but its impact is brutal. The president must faithfully execute the laws. That phrase sounds harmless, almost boring, but it's the legal foundation of the entire presidency. It means the president cannot pick and choose which laws to follow. They can't ignore laws they don't like. They can't rewrite laws in private. They can't treat the Constitution like a suggestion. Every president takes an oath. The words are not poetic, they're binding. I do solemnly swear that I will faithfully execute the office of president. That oath is not just a tradition, it's a legal promise. The president is swearing to the American people and to the Constitution itself. Here's where the danger lies. The moment a president crosses that line, when they openly refuse to enforce a law, or they try to use the power of the office to break the rules, the Constitution doesn't just get angry. It activates a system designed to stop them. The rule is the key, and the key turns the lock. The American government is built like a high-security building. The president may control the main floor, but the building has multiple locks. If the president tries to break the law, the lock doesn't fail. The lock engages, and the system begins moving, quietly, legally, and with deadly efficiency. Because the Constitution isn't a storybook. It's a control room, and this rule is the switch that can cut the power. The impeachment machine, how it traps a president. When the president breaks that oath, the American government doesn't react like a normal courtroom. It reacts like a machine built to stop a runaway leader. That machine is impeachment, and it's not a political rumor. It's a legal process with clear steps. First, the House of Representatives brings the charge. They don't punish the president. They accuse him or her of breaking the rules. This is the moment the system speaks. The House says, "You crossed the line." The accusation is called an impeachment. It's like an indictment in a criminal case, a formal charge. Then the case moves to the Senate. The Senate is the judge and jury. The president is no longer the most powerful person in the room. The Senate holds a trial. They call witnesses. They debate, and they decide whether the president must be removed. If 2/3 of the Senate votes yes, the president is removed from office. And there's one more detail that adds weight to this process. When the president is on trial, the Chief Justice of the Supreme Court presides. That means the person who oversees the highest court in the nation is the one watching over the trial of the most powerful person in the nation. This isn't a messy argument. It's a controlled legal engine. The House accuses. The Senate judges. The Chief Justice watches. And the Constitution forces the process forward, even if the president fights it every step of the way. Because in the American government, the system was built to survive a president who thinks he is above the law. What lose everything really means. Now let's talk about what lose everything really means. Because it's not just a headline, it's a complete collapse of power. First, removal from office is immediate. Once the Senate votes, the president doesn't get a goodbye speech, a final press conference, or a chance to say, "I'll fight it." The presidency ends like a power outage. One moment, they are running the country. The next moment, they are out of the building. Second, the president loses authority instantly. All executive power disappears. No more orders. No more control over the military. No more influence over agencies. The president becomes a private citizen with no legal power to act as the leader of the nation. Third, the president can be banned from holding federal office again. That means the same person can never return to the White House, not as president, not as vice president, not as a cabinet official. The Constitution allows the Senate to block a future comeback. And here's the final shock. The power transfer is automatic. The vice president becomes president instantly. There's no vote, no delay, no let's think about it. The system is built to keep the government running without interruption. So, when the Constitution says a president can lose everything, it's not a metaphor. It's a legal reality. One moment, you are the most powerful person in the world. The next moment, you are replaced, stripped of authority, and possibly banned from ever returning. That's what happens when the rule is broken, and why the Constitution's control is more powerful than any single leader. Why this rule exists, the fear that built the system. To understand why this rule exists, you have to go back to the fear that built the whole system. The founders did not trust a single person with unchecked power. They had lived under a king. They had watched a ruler make decisions alone, without limits, without consequences. So when they built the American government, they didn't just create power, they built a legal cage around it. The Constitution was designed like a lockbox. The president gets authority, but only within strict boundaries. The oath of office is the key that locks the president into the rules. The impeachment process is the lock that keeps them from breaking free. They didn't want a leader who could act like a king, so they made a system where the government itself can stop a president, legally and forcefully. The White House might look like the center of power, but the real power lies in the structure around it. Every branch of government was built to check the others. The president can't just decide to ignore the law. The House can accuse. The Senate can remove. The Constitution forces the process to happen, even if the president fights it. This is why the rule matters. It's the foundation of American democracy. It's the difference between a leader who serves the law and a leader who thinks the law serves them. And that's the whole point. The American government was built to prevent one person from becoming the final authority. The Constitution is the system that keeps the president from becoming a king. If you want to understand how the American system survives a president who thinks they're above the law, this is the rule you need to remember. The presidency isn't a throne, it's a responsibility. And the moment a leader refuses to faithfully execute the laws, the Constitution doesn't just protest. It activates a built-in brake designed to protect the nation. Impeachment isn't a political weapon. It's a legal process, a constitutional safeguard that can remove a president, strip them of authority, and even prevent them from holding office again. The power doesn't vanish because of a scandal or a vote. It disappears because the law was broken. If you found this eye-opening, like, subscribe, and turn on notifications for the next video.